So this is VCH 427, advanced methods in biochemistry, advanced biochemical methods. This is my own aspect of the course, preparation of dissertation, which is preparation of project research. Okay, so what is the dissertation? Dissertation is a long piece of writing about personal research on a particular subject, written by a candidate for a university degree. Alright, so it has to do with a whole story of your research, demonstrates all skills that you have developed throughout your degree course. Alright, so it's a great opportunity for you to create something unique on your own. So dissertation is more of your project, which is what defines your degree, the degree that you are awarded. So what are the attributes of a good dissertation? A good dissertation should be contestable and focused, clearly asserts your own conclusion based on evidence, provocative, takes a stand and justifies the discussion you will present. It proves the reader with a map to guide him through your work. Right? Avoid use of vague languages. So for your exam or your mid-semester, whichever one, my own aspect of BCA 427 is that I am going to ask you to briefly outline the various sections of a dissertation. So you explain it briefly using an example. Okay, so that is what you should be targeting in this thing you are reading now, in this slide. All right, so look at the format of a dissertation. All dissertation will vary in format, style, and design depending on your university, subject, and supervisor. So the most formats would include one title page, formal pages, which include the declaration page, dedication page, acknowledgement, table of content. These are called the preliminary pages. All right, so see how they are arranged: title page, declaration page, dedication, acknowledgement, table of content, then your abstract. Then we have the introduction, literature review, materials and methods, results or findings, discussion and conclusion, and then references, then appendices. Okay, so usually discussion, conclusion, and recommendation. Okay, please remember there will be discussion, conclusion, and recommendation. Very important. And then before you now have your reference and then appendices. So appendices are where you deposit some of the statistical analysis that you did, and some of the reagents that you use and how you prepared them. You send them to the appendix. Okay, now let's start with the title. The title of the dissertation reflects whole content, so it should be informative, to the point, in harmony with the content of the thesis. So either I call it a dissertation, I call it a thesis or a project. So we're using them interchangeably. So what's the objective? The title is meant to draw the reader's interest. That is the aim for, choosing your title. It is meant to draw the reader's interest, and title should not be more than 15 words. So if your title is more than 15 words, it's not acceptable. Maximum of 15 words. So tips for selecting a title: be specific. The title has to be specific and accurate. Avoid phrases such as a study of, an investigation of. No. So the next thing is the abstract. What is the aim of the abstract? The abstract is meant to state the field of the study and problem definition, to state the main conclusion in the research. So usually abstract is between the range of 200 to 250 words. So this is introduction. Introduction has to do with what is known, what is unknown, and then why the study was done. Look at a typical example of so key elements of a good biochemical research. Okay, we'll look at in the introduction. You usually have a, when you introduce, the way you write your introduction is that each of those terms in your topic, okay, you have to make some highlights on them in the introduction. So if you are working with something like therapeutic effect of hibiscus sabdarifalin against carbon tetrachloride induced hepatotoxicity. So somebody who want to understand, first of all, in your introduction, you can start by telling us about hibiscus sabdarifalin. Okay, what is it used for? What is the ethno-medicinal value of that particular plant? All right, what is it used for traditionally? Then from there you can talk about the plant, how it is cultivated. Then from there you now go into hepatotoxicity. You talk about hepatotoxicity. Because these are the two basic components, hepatotoxicity and the hibiscus sabdarifalin. So that is just what will be your introduction. Introduction should not be more than 1 page. So the remaining aspect of your introduction will be to the statement of the problem. The statement of the problem. So they are part of introduction. So introduction usually is introduction 1.0, background of the study. Then 1.1, statement of the problem. So you see, this is statement of the problem. Key elements of a good biochemical research problem statement. So see it here. Examples of problem statements in different biochemical areas. Like if you are working on cardiovascular disease, this guy is a statement of problem. The problem that your research intend to solve, the knowledge gap you intend to cover. Despite the effectiveness of current medication, a significant proportion of patients with heart failure continue to experience poor quality of life due to persistent symptoms. This is the problem. So this study will investigate the potential of a novel gene therapy approach to improve cardiac function. See, this is a typical statement of problem. Just state it this way. It's another one. For a neurodegenerative, somebody that is studying neurodegenerative disease, the mechanism underlying Alzheimer's disease progression remain poorly understood, leading to limited therapeutic options. This research will explore the role of specific protein aggregates in neuronal damage. Statement of problem. So usually statement of problem 1.1. So introduction, you wrote 1.0 background, 1.1 statement of problem. Okay, look at this one. This one is another sample of statement of problem for a natural product analysis. Like plectranthus is used in in Africa to treat stomach ache, this and that. Other medicinal properties that have been accredited to this plant include these diseases. However, there is paucity of information on the precise bioactive principles that are responsible for its antioxidant property, and most of the claimed ethnomedicinal applications of P. esculentus tuber are yet to be substantiated with empirical evidence. This is a problem. In order to bridge this knowledge gap, the present study isolated and characterized the active compounds that are present in the aqueous extract of Plectranthus esculentus tuber and evaluated the in vitro antioxidant potential of the extract and the isolated bioactive compound. This is a statement of problem. So, how to state the aim? So the next thing is the aim of the study. All of them are under introduction, which is chapter 1. Like I said, chapter 1, introduction, 1.1 background, 1.2 statement of problem, 1.3 aim of the study. So the aim of the study should be derived directly from the title. For instance, if the title of your project is as follows: isolation, characterization, and in vitro antioxidant capacity of the bioactive compound in the aqueous extract of P. esculentus tuber, then the aim should be as follows. The aim of the present study was to isolate and characterize the possible bioactive compounds present in aqueous extract of P. esculentus tuber and evaluate their in vitro antioxidant capacity. So that will be the aim. So from after writing the aim, you now go over to specific objective. After the aim, you go over to what? Specific objective. Specific objective are written after stating the aim of the study. How to state your specific objective? So each of them, make sure your objectives aren't overly vague. Okay? They must be measurable, must be specific, and must be achievable. So are the three things that must be. So look at this example of a specific objective. To determine the quality and quantity of phytochemical present in iodate. This is measurable. To determine the quantity and the quality of phytochemical present. So it is measurable. This one will have his result. So when this person finish this research now, it's expected that anybody that is reading his project with this first objective, the person will go to his result and go and check the answer, the result of this first objective. Okay? Then the second objective, to determine the percentage yield / weight and RF values of the various compounds isolated from the crude extract using column chromosomes and thin layer chromosomes. So the person will go again, check in the result to see whether the result of this objective is there. So every objective you state must have a result in the result section. And it is your objective that your external examiner looks to know whether your project is complete. So if there are some of your specific objective that has not been given a result, it means your project is not yet complete. And specific objective must be stated in such a way that it can be measured or it can be verified. A result can be stated from it to elucidate the structure of the isolated compound. So it's expected that somebody will go and see the structures of this compound. To determine the in vitro antioxidant capacity, so there will be a result for this. So it is specific. But it will be wrong for somebody to say something like, if you now want to say your objective, you now say to determine the impact of food on, to determine the effect of nutrition on health status. If you make that kind of, it will be difficult for you. It's not measurable. To determine the effect of nutrition on health status is not measurable. How do you measure it? So you're supposed to make the objective to be measurable, because when you present an objective, there must be a result to it. So if you say to determine the effect of nutrition on health status, there is no way you can. That objective may not have a result, or maybe the result to be present may not be a reflection of that objective. So that is why it is better to state your objective in a way that the results can be a direct answer of your objective. So somebody that want to talk about the effect of nutrition on health status, it's expected that maybe what the person should do is to break it down and say to determine the concentration of carbohydrates that results in hypoglycemia. So in that case, you have now brought it down in a way that your result will now be concentration of carbohydrate, hyperglycemia. hypoglycemia or glycemic index. So this can make it specific. So you have measure the condition of blood and measure hyperglycemia. So with that, it gives you an idea of the effect of nutrition on health status. So you have broken that down to a measurable objective. That is what I'm trying to explain. So don't give a host because there's difference between aim and objective. Aim can be something that is big. Like for instance, that effect of nutrition on health status is a broad aim. So it cannot be a specific objective. It is expected that from that aim now you can now begin to bring out little measurable objective that will enable you to arrive at that broader aim, that large aim of determining health status from nutrition. So that is what we are saying. So each of your objective must be measurable, specific, okay, and then it's something that can be results can be presented for it. Then after your specific objective, the next thing you now go into is literature review. So literature review is arranged in such a way that it's just like a review or a seminar. You see? So like this person now, you want to write on, these are his topics in literature review. Benign 2.8 benign process of hyperplasia. After explaining benign process of hyperplasia, he goes further to talk about the prevalence of benign. He now put 2.8.1, 2.8.2, still under benign process of hyperplasia. Then 2.8.2.1 is under pathogenesis of BP. So you want to talk about pathogenesis, then talk about the effect of androgen, effect of estrogen, effect of aging. All of them are under the pathogenesis of BPH. So that's why you see it is having 2.8.2.1, 2.8.2.2, 2.8.2.3, 2.8.2.4. You see? So that is how you arrange your literature review. So arrange it that way. Then you see, after literature review, you now go into materials and methods. Materials and method, which has to do with stating how you did your project, how you carried out the research, the materials you used, and how you did it, carried out the laboratory investigation. So it describes, explain what work was done and how it was done. Explain why you choose the method. So it has to do with details of instrumentation, samples collection, reagent and experimental technique, appropriate control, and experimental conditions. All of them are what is stated in here. So this is how you arrange your chapter 3. You write material and method. You write material and method. Material method 3.1. Then you have 3.1.1. 3.1.1. You talk about collection of plant material and authentication. How you collected the plant material and how it was authenticated in case you are working with plants. Then the next one is talk about 3.2, which is preparation of the aqueous extract. How you prepare the extract that you worked on. And you talk about separation of fractions, qualitative and quantitative phytochemical analysis. Under, for example, we talk about qualitative phytochemical analysis, quantitative phytochemical analysis, then determination of free. So this is how you arrange your methodology. You must state the way, how you collected the plant, how you source for the plant, if you are working with a plant,
If you are working with microbe, you explain how you source for the microbe, how you isolated it, okay, how you determine the strain. All those things are how you ensured some of the precaution that you took to ensure that it is actually the particular microbe that you need that was isolated and used for the study. So all these things are very what you do in your materials and method. Okay. Then you now go over to results. Result comes before discussion. So under result is just for you to, in your result, like I said, the way research is designed is such that from your specific objective, the first specific objective will be the first under literature, under material method. It will also be the first explanation of the method that you use to arrive at that particular objective. So you state the method of that first specific objective. So if your first specific objective, for instance, in this particular presentation, to determine the quality and quantity of phytochemical present in apple, this is the first specific objective this person wants to achieve. It's expected that in his methodology, he's going to start by telling us, first of all, among other objectives, he will first present how he determined the quality and the quantity of the phytochemical present in apple. That will be the first one, followed by how he got the percentage yield, how to determine percentage yield and weight, and RF values of the various compounds that is isolated from the crude extract. He will tell us, explain it under the methodology. Then he will now go to the third one and explain also how he elucidated the structure of the isolated compounds using FTIR and NMR. So these are what will be under methodology. According to the way the specific objective is, that is how the methodology will be arranged, one after the other. Then, when you now switch over to the results, which is the chapter 4, in the result section also, one we want to see that the first result there will be the result of quality and quantity of phytochemical present in herpet. That will be the first result there. So that when your external examiner is reading, as he's opening your specific objective, you go to your result page, you will see that the first specific objective has been answered. You go to the second specific objective to determine the percentage, you will see it in the result that has been present. Don't interchange it. Don't scatter it. The way you arranged your specific objective is the way you are going to arrange your methodology. And also that is the way you are going to, the sequence you are going to use to arrange your results. So specific objective 1 should be methodology 1, and also should be result 1. Specific objective of to determine the quality and quantity of phytochemical present in herpet should be also the first objective, the first methodology under chapter 3, which is determination of quality and quantity of phytochemicals present in herpet. They will want to see how you determined it, the first one. Then they will go back to the result section and look at the result. The first result there is phytochemical quantity and quality of phytochemical present in herpet. You state the result, and that is how result has stated. The research work is done. It follows a sequence, starting from the specific objective, the same sequence that it is. That is how it will be in your result. Then when you finish presenting your result will just be a table or a graph, table or graph, table or graph, table or graph. Okay. If you are presenting in table, you present all in table. If you are presenting in graph, you present in graph. Graphical presentation, that is bar chart or pie chart, or if you are presenting graph, you present. So the only thing is that in each result you are presenting, if it is table you are using to present a particular result, use table to present it. Don't present with table and present with the bar chart or histogram at the center. No. For that particular result, like the quantity of phytochemical present in herpet, if it is table you are using, you present all of them in table. quantity of phytochemical present in present. If it is graph you want to use to present each of them, you use the histogram or bar chart to present it in that particular result. Then you go to the next result to determine percentage yield and weight. If it is graph you want to use graph. If it is table you want to use to present it, use table to present it. But don't present table at the same time present graph for one particular result. No. You can present table for result 1, then use graph for result 2. No problem, it's accepted. But don't go and present graph for result 1 and also present table for result 1 again. It's not acceptable that way. Okay? So that is it. Then, when you have finished presenting your result, okay? So usually the result will be, we present a table, then the table you present, you have to explain under it, the footnote of the table, the abbreviations in that table, or if it is graph, the legend, what does the legend mean? Put the meaning of the legends, okay? Then if it is table, all the abbreviations in that table, write it in full. Also put the standard deviation or the SEM that you used. Put the probability, okay? The probability, whether it is at which probability did you do it? At p greater than 0. At p less than 0.05, that is significant, or at which confidence limit. You know, you must put those specific things. The number of the sample of the group, if there are 5 or 6, you state it, n equal to 6. It must be stated in the table very well. Everything must be there. Okay? And then you will now explain the table, the result briefly. Say usually the result will just be, if you did a comparative analysis, so this is significant compared to this is significantly decreased compared to this value is significantly decreased compared to this. Just state it that way. Don't explain it. The result doesn't require explanation. It's just for you to state it the way it is, that this one is significant compared to this is significant, this is lower than the control, this is compared to group 1, this is lower compared to group, this is significant compared to this is not significant compared to this. Just present it that way and leave it like that. Don't go and tell us explaining how the result is. It's not necessary in that result. So that means each page should be one result. If it is table you are presenting, that page should be table, then a brief explanation of that table, the result in that table. You can go to the next result, or it will be on another page, separate page. That's how the result is presented. Then when you finish, you now go over to the you go over to the discussion. So discussion, conclusion, and recommendation is chapter 5. What is discussion? So discussion is to interpret and describe the significance of your findings, the significance of your result. See, it's in discussion that I do that. So look at a typical example of discussion. These are the typical example of discussion. The typical example of discussion is this. Look at this discussion. It says an essential index estimated from LDPPH free radical scavenging test is the 50% inhibitory concentration. Inhibitory concentration, IC50, shows the quantity of antioxidants necessary to reduce the DPPH radical concentration by 50%. You state your source of reference. The lower the IC50 value, the higher the. On the other hand, reducing power of an antioxidant. Now, look at how this one in black is telling you, explaining to you the parameter in that particular result. The parameter in that result, it's explaining to you what it is. Okay? Then, the second aspect of that particular explanation is stating the result proper. So in the present investigation, both assays exhibited a lower IC50 value and a higher reducing capacity for beta-sitosterol and alpha-linoleic acid that is comparable to the reference compound. This is the result. The first statement there is explaining that particular result, that IC50 value and reducing capacity. Then the second one is stating the result now. Then the third one is interpreting that result, explaining what it is, the significance of that result. These data show that beta-sitosterol and linoleic acid are the major components responsible for the antioxidant capacity of IPET. So you can see the person has stated the result and now giving the reason why that result is like that. Okay? So due to the fact that beta-sitosterol has a molecular structure that allows it to interact with free radicals, it has significant antioxidant properties that can neutralize free radicals and protect cells from oxidative damage by scavenging reacting oxygen species. So this is giving you the reason why the result is the weight, the result that was presented, the significance of that result, the meaning of that result. Okay? Then you see the next thing that you see in green is using existing literature to back up your result. So you say previous studies have also attributed the strong antioxidant potential of several plant extracts to the presence of beta-sitosterol or linoleic acid. So you are using something that some other person have found to back up your own result, or for you to say our result is in contrast with that of previous studies, which shows that or that our result is in line with. Okay? So that is what the way a discussion is done. Explain the parameter you want to, just use brief one sentence explanation of the parameter, state the results of that parameter, and then explain the significance of that result, the biochemical significance of that result, the biochemical reasoning behind the result that you got. Then use literature review, other studies to back it up. That is for each paragraph, for each result, that is what you are going to do. Each result, you do it that way. Are you getting what I'm saying? So that's exactly what you see here. Then after discussion, you now go to conclusion. You see, now move into conclusion. The opinion you have after considering all the information about something. The essence of conclusion is to summarize your principal finding, to summarize it. Okay? The conclusion is the answer to the aim of the study and the statement of problem. The answer to the aim of the study. For instance, this study suggests that the major bioactive compound in IPET responsible for its pharmacological properties are beta deep out of which beta contributes significantly to the plant antioxidant capacity. This study further authenticates the ethnomedicinal use of Plectranthus tuber as a source of antioxidant. So, where did this conclusion come from? You remember, for instance, this person now, the reason why he made this conclusion is that when you look at the person's statement of problem, you know, the person's statement of problem, you see, the aim of the person's, so look at the aim of the person, the aim that the person wanted to. The aim of the present study was to isolate and characterize the possible active compound present in aqueous extract of P. elentis, and then to determine the in vitro antioxidant capacity. So from that aim, that's where he brought out this conclusion. After his study, he now arrived at this conclusion that you are seeing here. So conclusion is an answer to the aim of your study. and also the statement of problem. Okay? Then now go over to recommendation. Recommendation is what you recommend from your study. From the significance of your study, you are making some recommendation to people. There are two aspects to recommendation. Making recommendation based on the significance of your findings, and also giving room for further study. Okay, explaining about further study. Okay, and the limitation of your study, and also the further suggestion for further study. So they are the aspect of recommendation. Like this one, now look at this one. Say, being that P exclusive is a good source of antioxidant comparable to vitamin C, the consumption of P exclusive should be encouraged, especially for the elderly who are prone to oxidative stress-induced diseases. This is a recommendation that this person is giving based on his conclusion. He has concluded that these studies are the major bioactive compound present this contributes to the plant's antioxidant capacity. See? So he is now saying that based on that the consumption of P should be encouraged, especially for the elderly who are prone to oxidative stress-induced disease. This is a recommendation. Then another recommendation is given now that valuable data obtained from the present study can be applied for subsequent clinical research. Aimed at developing potential therapeutic substances from P exclusive. So this is suggestion for further studies, that this study can be applied in a clinical setting, in a clinical research, that is by using human being to do the study, so that you can develop potential therapeutic substances like drugs from P exclusive. So this is, then the last aspect is now the references. Look at the typical references. We are using upper style reference, 7th edition. Look at the reference. The journal title, the journal Food Chemistry is usually italicized, and then the journal volume, then the issue is in bracket, then the page. See it how it's written. Usually we advise you, if you want to do referencing of a journal or article from a journal, you use Google, copy the reference and paste it in Google Scholar, and then Google Scholar will help you to you select the particular style of reference you want. If it is upper style, select it. It makes all your reference to be uniform. Okay, so like this one, and that is how this person did this one. So you can see how this reference is written. Study the way the reference is written. So it is just for you to see that the reference, the name of the authors, you see, and the last person, you put and before the last name, and then usually the surname is written first before the initial. Surname initial, and then determination of the total phenolic, flavonoid and proline content in Burkina Faso and honey, so that the radical scavenging activity. See, the name of the journal is Food Chemistry, it's italicized. The volume is 91, the issue is 3, it is bracketed. Volume is italicized. Then the page is written this way. Then if it's one that's collected from a website, the website is like Medicinal Plant Name Service 2020 HTTPS. Look at the website. You write assess the day you assess it. Okay? That is how to do it. So for your quiz, please bear in mind that it's just for you to state it this way. And the major thing that you are expected to know in your quiz or exam that I'm going to ask you is simple and short. This is what you should know. Format of dissertation. You write it out like this. And each of these things, you just give a little explanation of it. Abstract, you explain what it is. Introduction, you write what it is. Literature review, you write what it is all about. Material and method, you write what it's all about. Result of finding,
discussion and conclusion, references. Just write it this way briefly. It will not be more than 2 pages. Okay? That's what you need to know about this my aspect of the course. Thank you very much. I wish you the best.